Hello and welcome. I am Stacey Thomas, author, ALS advocate, film producer, and talk show host. I'm here to motivate, educate, and entertain. Join me on YouTube every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Stacey Thomas Talk Show, where we have powerful discussions centered around health, relationship, careers, and everyday conversation. Follow me on Facebook, I am Stacey Thomas, on Instagram, Stacey Thomas Talk Show. And don't forget, I can promote you too. Email me at iamstaceythomas@gmail.com. Now, it's time for the show. Hey, everybody. This is I am Stacey Thomas. Thank you for watching. I am the host of the Stacey Thomas Show. And today, okay, you know what I'm going to say. Stacey's being blessed once again with another powerful story. So let's welcome Dana Clark Jackson. Hello.
Hello, Miss Stacey. How are you doing?
I'm good, beautiful. How are you?
I am blessed and highly favored.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Let me say first, thank you for coming on my platform, okay? You are quite a woman with a powerful story. And this interview right here, I told you earlier, I said to myself, Stacey, this has to go on the radio. Let's not hold her up all night. And I would like to let my viewers know and my listeners know just what you will receive tonight is going to make you get the book. Get the book. Listen to me. Get the book. Let's start with beautiful Dana. I have to start with, and I'm going to show the book. This cover, because this cover it's an eye catcher, right? If I walk down the aisle and I saw this book in a Walmart store or Barnes and Noble, it's going to make me want to know more. Please tell me, first of all, why this picture on the cover of your new book?
This picture is actually of me and my grandmother. It was taken in 1959. I believe I was approximately 6 months old at the time. It is in Muncie, Indiana. And actually, my publisher was the one that decided to put this one up. I actually had another cover that was my cousin on my father's side. And so it was just juxtaposed with me on one side and her on the other, me being fair complected and her being darker. And I thought that was a great, contrast. And of course, it depends. Long story short, Stacey, it depends on who is doing the publishing, because they're going to go by what they think their audience is. And so even at this, Stacey, this issue came up, even at this. So we went with that because I think he wanted to reach a broader audience, ones that probably would have been taken aback a little bit had they known the real background. So he was right.
Wow. And you are an author, speaker, educator, life skills coach, singer, songwriter, and a storyteller. And under those words in your bio, it said saved by grace.
Oh, yes, ma'am. Yes.
Saved by grace. And what caught my attention in your book, one of the things I loved was because at the actual end, you told how it was that God played a part in your life. Your birth into this world, white mother, black father. During the time, without telling too much about the book, what really caught my attention was when you said to me that your mother went to jail and wore a sign around her neck. What did it say, Miss Dana?
The actual police officers at that time were KKK members, most likely. And so they put around her neck a sign that read "nigger lover."
Nigger lover.
And she was 19 years old, most likely. So I'm sure she was scared to death.
Scared to death. I'm not your mother, and I can almost imagine how horrible that was. It surprised me because according to media, whenever you see something about interracial relationships, it's the black person that gets the jail time, not the white person. Um, your mother, the way you spoke about her and what she went through, what you guys went through, sounds like a very strong woman because you said the area. So her father was a pastor with a white congregation. You told me KKK headquarters.
Yeah.
It had to be love. What else could it be?
Yeah. Yeah.
So your birth was surrounded by controversy from the beginning.
Yes, ma'am. My father's name is not even on my birth certificate.
Is that because
Because he was black and they were concerned. They probably were concerned about them coming after him, actually, my grandparents, because I think they had everything to do with my mom's uh, place of delivery. It was in Fort Wayne, away from Muncie, which is, like I said, that was at one time the KKK headquarters in the 1930s. So they traveled up north, Fort Wayne, Indiana, which is further up north in Indiana. And ironically, this is the place where my great 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 grandmother, Maria Woodworth Etta, the woman evangelist, who's an American religious leaders in America, was headquartered there. And there may have been a reason that I was taken up there.
wow. And before we get too deep into the book, I have some questions for you.
Okay.
Number one, because when I saw you, we were on the phone and then you told me who you were on Facebook and you'd already told me about it. And I said, Miss Dana, I think I said, don't get mad if I ask you this, but you look like a Caucasian lady.
Yeah. Yeah.
Duh, Stacy, she already told you, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
As I've heard people say that I went to school with that the black people didn't want them and the white people didn't want them.
Yes, that is correct.
And even though we say that, I want to ask you, because you are both races, do you ever find yourself, though, no matter what room you're in, if one is talking about the other, you feel for the other?
Oh, I'm so glad you said that because I've been in ministry for over 30 years now. And I have been a part of both black and white churches, respectively. And there is a different feel culturally. And they will, now it depends on the maturity, it depends on the pastoral leadership. But I have been in places where people, whether they meant to or not, just let things fly out of their mouths without thinking. I once heard a person say, white people smell like dogs when it rains, and they were probably joking, but here you are. I'm standing here. My mother's white, and you're making this, racial slur, and think it's funny, and I'm thinking, Mom, right? Same thing if I'm around the other persuasion and they start to say something stupid. Right. And yeah, so it's a hypersensitivity on both ends.
On both ends. Yeah, I wondered about that because you can't, I don't think you can just pick one side and not feel for the other side if you have both sides in you. And in your book, you spoke of, and not many people want to admit this, but at one time, light, bright, green eyes, blue eyes was the thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Being beautiful, and I know beauty comes in all shades, but because that was the thing, have you ever felt like your complexion, your eyes, your nice hair, that it may have been a curse?
Oh, not even a question. One of the things that two violent instances, which I record in the book, I didn't get into detail, but one was a jumping by a gang.
Yes.
And the other one was a gang rape. And both of them were instigated by my color. It was very evident that, okay, I'm going to retaliate against the white oppressor by getting the next best thing that represents that in my sight, from my perspective. So yes, there was many a times that I was the object of violence and anger from both sides.
Yes, ma'am. Because I was having a conversation with one time. It was someone we saw on television. And I asked a friend of mine, I said, because the women that this person had violated were all lights, of the light skin complexion.
Mhm.
And I said, I don't know if I'm making sense when I say this. I said, but it's almost like to be beautiful. That's when you deal with the pedophiles, the predators, and
Yeah.
everything. So life is not always perfect.
No, no, no.
So as you go on today,
Mm.
as we are in 2026,
Yes.
right? You walk into a place and someone assumes you're white
Mhm.
by the conversation, by the way they treat you. Do
Mhm.
you correct them, or do you, as when we're in Rome, do as the Romans do?
Well, I found that it's more of a cultural thing than it is a color thing, actually, because I've grown up in several places in Los Angeles, and let me tell you, we could be in a certain part of town, and the folks would be white as all get out, but they're bumping rap music and wearing the same clothes. So maybe back in the day, it was more of along the line of color and less about culture. Now it is it has blended so now honestly I've gotten told, don't laugh. I had one young man come up to me when I was walking in Long Beach, California, and he said, "You look like my best girl in India."
Really?
I had another person, they come up and they'll start speaking Spanish because they think I'm Puerto Rican. I've had
Right.
people come up and ask me, "Ooh, you must be Creole because you look like my auntie."
Wow.
When my hair was long and flat ironed and my face was full, it was either Hawaiian or Asian.
Wow.
So I'm like, well, Lord, you have a reason for why everybody thinks I look like somebody in their family.
Wow. Wow. When was it, like, during your lifetime? And I know it tells this in the book, but tell those of who are watching and listening, at what moment was it when you decided I'm black, or I'll relate to being black? What happened?
Uh, well, my mom moved quite frequently. Probably when I look back over, probably a total of 31 times that I can recall over my lifetime. Um, I became somewhat of a cultural sponge, sort of like I assimilated wherever we went. So I was not really comfortable anywhere until I actually settled for being black. And
Really?
probably when that happened was when I decided to have my first afro because I got tired of trying to deal with my hair. And I talk about that in the book. My mom, she did not know what to do with it. It was probably halfway down my back. She cut it all off at one time. She permed it one time. It all broke off, and
Really?
I had a reverse mohawk because of the chemical, right?
Uh-huh.
And in the book you see pictures. In the book you see pictures
I
of
saw pictures, uh-huh, and of the black hair.
yeah. So I think I was 14, 15 when I decided to go with the fro, and I remember going to a barber shop. Now I had never gone to a hair place before. I had never gone to white or black, but I guarantee you, if it would have been white, it would have been very different. They probably would have been trying to do something. But in the barbershop, it was like, ooh, she got nice gray hair. Now it was thicker than it is right now. This is,
It's pretty. It's pretty now.
but so I had a lot of hair. And so the gentleman that did my hair, he shaped it up, and I really thought I wanted a round thing, right? And he
Uh-huh.
kind of shaped it like this. And
And
I
you had
didn't
an afro?
like, yeah, it was like he shaped it. Like, and so when he got done, it was a masterpiece to him. He said, "You look like Angela Davis."
Wow.
Here's the thing. That was probably the greatest compliment he could give to a black woman.
Yes.
Yes.
However, I didn't know who Angela Davis was. So I had a look on my face like, okay.
That's funny. And so I asked you, I go back to the time when your mother was young and had you. And I asked a question about the sign, the first sign, because I feel like these are things that people walk around and they think only African Americans have suffered.
Yeah.
They don't think for a minute that because an African American loves somebody else, that the other person could suffer also. So we have the sign when she's in jail.
Yeah.
And then in the black neighborhood during the riot times,
Yeah.
she had another sign.
Yep. That she imposed that label on herself in order to deal with the hostilities in the community.
And what was that sign?
I belong to a brother.
And it worked?
It worked. Well, that and the fact that she had a biracial daughter.
Wow.
Even though I was fair complected, but I'll tell you what, I do have melanin in my skin, so when it's sunny outside, I will get golden rotisserie.
You
Okay.
will?
I will. If I'm in the sun, I sure will. So I'm sure living in Los Angeles at the time, I had more of a, golden color, right?
Wow.
And I do this is real fair. But yeah, because I looked at the picture, you saw some of them were black and white, but if they were in color, I'm telling you,
Wow.
hair and everything, eyes change color, hair texture, hair color, all of it was affected by the sun.
Wow. The title of the book, Reconciled, Black by Experience. Woo, that'll get your attention. Black by experience. Explain that, please.
Um, there are people that are biracial that have been raised in predominantly white neighborhoods, and
Okay.
so culturally speaking, they identify with that, depending on who the dominant parent was. In my case, and I talk about it in my book, there are sights and smells and sounds in the black community that only someone that lives there and has experienced it understand. I understood what a hot comb was. I understood what barbecue was. I understood what greens and ham hocks and black eyed peas and all the things that come with that territory. I wore the Cleo Jones fox fur, faux fur, yeah. So that kind of thing is what I identified with culturally. And so by experience, not just that, but growing up with a single mom who struggled, had nothing to do with color,
Right.
but it was a struggle.
It was a struggle.
Not having enough money, making poor choices, not having a father in the home, ending up because of not having life skills on welfare, food stamps, housing in the hood. All these things are experiences in the Black community that I'm very, very much aware of. And so, because I experienced them myself, you know, the violence, again, like I said, being jumped by a gang of Crips in a public park, uh, that most people aren't going to experience that. But, I identified as I got older, Stacy, one of my degrees is in African and African American studies. And so I did that by choice because I did not understand the dynamic. What is this animosity that has built up between white and blacks? I did not understand it. I was the recipient. I was the object of the anger on both sides, but I did not understand it. So I went and got that degree, and I thoroughly understood.
You understand it now.
Yeah.
There are people that, well, we all go through storms. And reading your book, it almost seemed like one storm after the other.
Yeah.
One storm after the other, one move after the other,
Yeah.
just one thing out after the other. And for you, would you agree, looking at yourself now, that blessings are at the end of the storms?
Oh, no question. No question. Honestly, you cannot appreciate the blessings of God and the richness of his mercies without having suffered. There would be no capacity. There would be nothing to compare with. Sad times make happier times more exuberant. When you struggle through poverty and you achieve self, sufficiency, there's a joy that comes because of knowing and understanding that contrast. And so even with black and white, listen, I learned how to appreciate cabbage. I learned how to appreciate, so I learned how to appreciate some of the blander foods that my mom cooked, but I tell you what, she learned more about black cooking than she did, she could make some mean fried chicken and some pot roast,
Really?
and some other hamburgers. I mean, she had her meals, but she was very vibrant. My mother, she knew no stranger. She had no animosity towards anyone, and she's always been that way from the time that I was a child. Everyone was welcomed in our house. Everyone was treated equally. Everyone was, just respected. I watched her for years. I remember her being a manager at a restaurant, and she hired the Hispanics that nobody would hire, and she would make arrangements to have them come in when they could because some of them worked 2 or 3 jobs. And I just watched her. I watched how she treated others.
It's interesting because I remember growing up too, and my mother, no matter who walked through the front door, no matter what race they were, my mother didn't talk about race. We had white friends from out of not even in our neighborhood that would come over. They could go in the refrigerator just like the black friends could go in the refrigerator. And that's the way I raised my children. But sometimes when we're raising our children like that, it kind of shocks them when they get out into the real world. Shocks them. And if you could speak directly to your younger self, right? From this point, if you could speak directly to your younger self, what's one thing you would want your younger self to know?
No matter how you got here, no matter the trial and tribulations surrounding you or your environment, you are fearfully and wonderfully made by God.
Fearfully and wonderfully made by God. And another point, and you see Stacy's trying not to tell the book. Another point in the book, there was a day when God told you, I guess basically it was enough was enough in your life. When you were young and going through some things, when you decided, like, I want to see, did you ignore that first and then you came around?
Stacy, I was living hard and fast.
Okay.
Raised in the streets of Los Angeles, not gang, but party.
Okay.
The elite in the industry, being around music and people that were in the entertainment field. So I was exposed to quite a bit, and then trying to navigate that and the color issue, the rejection. So it definitely led me into some times of tests. Let's say it like that.
Test.
I came to Christ in my bedroom on my knees at 19 years of age after living high, living fast, experiencing everything that life could throw at you because I didn't have any boundaries. If I could do it, I just would, because I had liberties because my mother was white, that a lot of people may not have had. So I had opportunity, and those opportunities got me in trouble because I didn't have any boundaries set. I didn't understand how dangerous the world was. So, like I said, that resulted in literally suicidal thinking by 19, between the rejection and the fast living. So I cried out to God in my bedroom on my knees in Inglewood, and God answered.
I
Plain and
love.
simple. There was no preacher. There was no Bible thumping. I had never gone to church. I didn't know anything about it. But I had enough sense to know that there was a God. And if he was real, I knew how to cry out and ask for help.
And he brought you out the storm, huh? Brought you out the storm.
Woo! And he did it with a mighty hand.
With a mighty hand.
I'm telling you, I all I can remember, Stacy, is praying and saying, God, if you're real, I need you to step in and help me because I can't handle this anymore.
Wow. And he showed up and showed
And
out.
he
Look at me.
showed up.
I'm just going by this story. This story sounds like he showed up and showed out, okay? This story is so, I can see that you were being honest in telling your story. You were very detailed in telling your story. And some things, some people may have even said, I'm not going to put this part in there.
Hmm.
How has sharing this story publicly and dealing with people like Stacey Thomas that has questions changed the way you see yourself and your legitimacy?
Um, there's a scripture that says, all things work together for the good to them that love God and to them that are called according to his purpose. That's what I found out. He can take the broken pieces of a person's life and form it into this beautiful mosaic that is way better than what the original looked like. And that's exactly what he did when I allowed him to use the pain and the rejection to help others. So he took a mess and made it into a message of hope. And I'll give you just one instance. When I first published my book, I was self-published, and I had a publisher, a gentleman that would print my books in Norman, Oklahoma. By the way, Norman, Oklahoma is a former sundown town. Second one that I've lived in. The other one was Culver City, California. I've lived in two. So long story short, one day I came in to get my books, and he says to me, can I make a copy of your book for myself to read?
What?
I said, sure you can. Feel free. So he printed one out. I thought that was an odd thing for a printer to have. Well, the next time I came in for the next order of books, I looked at him across the counter, and he looked like a deer who had just been in they talk about headlights, the deer and he stood there. And then he came out from around the counter, stopped in front of me, and he said, I am so sorry.
He thought you were white.
I am so, no. He's talking about my book. Just
your book.
So tears running down his face. He's white. Tears running down his face. And he starts to tell me, he says, my family was racist.
I was wondering if it has, that's why I said something about race. Oh, and wow.
He said, I am so sorry. And he said, can I give you a hug? And I smiled at him and I said, sure. And then I looked at him in the face and I said, you do know that those things are 32 years in my past, 32 years ago.
Wow.
But to him, it was immediate.
People have a tendency to blame everybody for the past. Mm-hmm. I look at a word, ignorance, not knowing. I don't think it's that people mean to be, not that all people mean to be racist, but sometimes we don't know any better until we read a book by Dana Clark Jackson. For people reading your book, well, for me, who's not biracial, I learned a lot. For people who are reading your book and they're having issues because they are biracial, right? They're in that space, don't know which side to go on. They're in that space, they don't know how to handle the rejection. What do you want them to get from that book? What do you want them to know?
One, that you are very unique in that you have a rare opportunity to bridge a gap that's been around for a long time. The Bible says, "Blessed are the peacemakers." So there's always an opportunity to impart knowledge and understanding. You use life as situations that arise as conflict in your life from these aspects, and you take an opportunity to make it a teachable moment. Sometimes you have to remove yourself out of being offended and take a moment and think, how can I make this a better situation? How can I speak into this and something good come out of it? So, not to be easily offended by ignorance.
Not to be easily offended by ignorance. I love it. I love it. Dana Clark Jackson. It's been great. We're gonna say I want you to tell the name of the book, and I want you to say how to follow you, get the book, and why should we get the book.
Okay. You can actually find me on Facebook, Dana Clark Jackson. Um, I also have a website which will be posted there shortly.
Okay.
Honestly, the book is an eye opener for anyone that's dealing with identity and rejection and how to overcome obstacles in a healthy way.
Okay. And it may not even be the rejection that you went through, but a rejection.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. I thank you. And for those of you who have the opportunity to watch the show, I do have in the comments where you can go on Amazon and get the book. And Miss Dana, I'm looking forward to seeing what comes next for you. Um, we've had personal conversation. You did something very nice for me and my son. And I don't know if you got the message, but my son said, thank you. Thank you. Might put you on my prayer team. Don't block my number. I might have to call.
Okay.
Miss Dana, have a good night and thank you for being on the show.
You too, Stacy. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
I am Stacy Thomas, and once again, follow Dana Clark Jackson. That's Dana Clark Jackson, and check out that great book on Amazon. And as always, don't stress too much about yesterday. Don't worry too much about tomorrow, because if we do, we just might miss living today. Have a great one, everybody.